Mindset sure matters. How does your best self contribute to your culture at work? Today, we're going to talk about a few different ways I think that are really relevant to this topic on mindset matters. The first is we've all heard them, de stress strategies like meditation, relaxation, deep breathing. But at the end of the day, are we still completely mentally exhausted? I know I am some days. The end of the day, tired. How can we maybe look at strategies in avoiding that? I want to give you an idea. So if you take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and draw a line down the middle, on one side, writing down the word energy suckers, and on the other side, write down energy energizers. So you've got energy suckers and energizers. Under energy suckers, list all of the items, the tasks, the people, the meetings, the things that are going on that drain you, completely destroy your spirit, take every ounce of energy away. And on the other side, under energizers, jot down anything that gives you energy throughout the day. What really is happy and contagious and gives you joy. Write those things down in a list. The people you like to talk to, the things you like to do, drinking that cup of coffee, whatever the case may be, jot it down in that list. And then what I suggest we try and do, and this is sometimes a challenge, let's face it, is to energy block. Take something that is really, destroying your spirit, kind of sucking you dry, and follow it up with something that energizes you. It's always helpful to start the day with something that energizes you and then start to hopefully make some headway in balancing our days. So at the end of the day, we're finishing the day on a high. So give that a try. The second idea is looking at ways in which our headspace and our mindset stays as positive as possible. Did you know that we are wired negatively? It takes work to think positively. So how can we start looking at ways to kind of bridge that gap? Let me give you an example. I know when I'm, looking at presenting somewhere or speaking somewhere, and you've got to go through an application process. So our baseline is pretty much our baseline where we're kind of either up nor down. We're at a baseline. We all have one. And we go through the process of, the application or the project, and you get accepted. You feel great. You're feeling good for what, 5 minutes, and then you're back down to baseline. And then you go through baseline a while and you go through another application, you get declined. That stung, that hurt, that didn't feel good. You're there for a little longer than 5 minutes. You go through the process again, you get accepted, and you've climbed up, but you're still not at baseline. Why? Still feels good that you've accomplished something, but you're still stung by that thing that didn't go right. And oftentimes we focus in on those things that don't go right. And so it takes work to balance and to bridge that gap. So a couple of things we can try through all sorts of different suggestions, but I like to look at different suggestions for reading, different books that might be helpful. I love Jay Shetty. Another one that I like to share is also The Ripple Effect by Dr. Greg Wells. Really helpful and some suggested habits and some suggested things we can try to help us feel a little bit more in control of what we can control. And then you can always go with like a CD while you're commuting or driving, any way to help us kind of bridge that gap. How can we focus in on positive mindset? And that is really helpful. Sometimes we need a little bit of help doing that. Brene Brown is another great one. So there's lots of different authors, podcast hosts, and suggested readings that I find to be very helpful, specifically when we're struggling with negative mindset. So switch it around, and it does take some work. The third element is, obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about gratitude, how grateful we are, how we can show gratitude. I always like to show a couple of examples. This is a happiness jar. Jotting down things that happen that are really good and healthy and positive that we're happy about and putting them somewhere. I've heard about envelopes, kudos envelopes, putting anything that happens that's really great in an envelope. I like the glass jar because I can see them. When I'm struggling with something, I can dump them out and read the different things that have happened that have gone well, that have gone right, versus dwelling on the negative all the time. So this is called the happiness jar. Some people call it the gratitude jar, whatever works for you. But it's keeping track of all of those things that go well that we forget about. Because why? We always dwell on the negative. So try to focus more on the positive. That's one way. Another way is looking at a gratitude journal. And I like to kind of challenge us thinking about this maybe a little bit differently. So if you have a gratitude journal, whatever that might be for you, if you flip it upside down and upside down or right side back, open it up. And this is where you can start writing down on the back everything that's bothering you. I call this brain dumping. Sounds kind of funny, but brain dumping, writing down everything that is more of a challenge for us lately, jotting them down and put them on the back. And then if we flip the book right side forward, this is where we can start jotting things down we're grateful for. And so this is another strategy to help people again, if we're struggling with something, we need to try to focus in more on the positivity. That's another way. Finish off with a really great quote. Creating happiness amidst this chaos is something that is hard for us to do. But you might remember the poet Amanda Gorman from the inauguration. There's always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Have an awesome day.